Hi there, in this video I'm going to share with you my anti-anxiety diet because it is my hope that this will help you to better understand how you can control your anxiety through food. An anti-anxiety diet is essentially a healthy diet, so if you adopt healthy eating in general, you should start to see over time some positive changes in your anxiety. However, whilst all healthy foods provide essential nutrients which are required for proper body functioning, there are certain foods that are better at controlling and reducing your anxiety than others. So in this video, I'm going to give you some specific details of the foods that I believe are some good anxiety foods and also some foods that I believe are not so good anxiety foods. In general, the good anxiety foods and the foods that will help you to calm your anxiety are natural whole foods and also foods that taste very neutral. In contrast, the foods that are not so good for your anxiety are processed foods and foods that are either spicy or salty or sweet or sour. So to better explain what I mean by natural whole foods versus processed foods, natural whole foods are foods that are still in their original form as found in nature or foods that have gone through minimal processing. And so these foods are full of essential nutrients that your body needs for both physical and mental health. In contrast, processed foods are foods that have been refined, and this is usually done in order to extend shelf life. In reality, processed foods lose some or most of their nutrients through processing to refine them, and so can be very poor in nutrients. In addition to that, processed foods are also likely to contain ingredients such as preservatives and colorings and flavorings, also additives such as added sugar and added salt, and they can also contain some chemical ingredients and E numbers, and altogether these are the reasons why processed foods can affect our physical health and mental health and should really be avoided, not only for anxiety but for your health in general. And now to better explain what I mean by neutral foods versus their alternative. So foods that are not very neutral in taste and therefore foods that taste either too salty or too spicy or too sour or too sweet are foods that are very likely to raise your adrenaline levels, and foods that can raise your adrenaline levels can also impact your anxiety levels, while foods that are very neutral in taste are very calming in terms of your anxiety. So what does my anti-anxiety diet look like? Well, the bulk of the calories come from fresh vegetables and preferably neutral vegetables and whole grains, including lots of brown rice. And so the bulk of these calories should be between 70 to 80%. In terms of protein makes up 10 to 20% of the diet and can include fresh meat, preferably white lean meats, also fresh fish, preferably wild fish and white fish, also some vegetable proteins and preferably organic vegetable protein, and these can be tofu, tempeh, seitan, and also some legumes. For seasonings, best is sea salt, some natural herbs such as celery, parsley and basil, and also cold pressed oils such as olive oil and sesame oil. Fruit needs to be limited because fruit is sweet, and if fruit is consumed, it should really be the less sweet fruits. And also nuts and seeds should be limited to maybe almonds, whole sesame seeds and whole linseeds because they are likely to be calming for your anxiety. The best drinks for anxiety are water and herbal tea. So which fresh vegetables form part of this anti-anxiety diet? All fresh vegetables have lots of essential nutrients required for proper body functioning, and only if we eat a variety of vegetables will we ensure that we get all the essential nutrients that we need. However, in saying that, I still did consume the following vegetables quite often and more than any other vegetables, and these include carrots, all different colors, celery root and celery, parsley root and parsley, also Swiss chard and potatoes, lots of leeks, onions and spring onions if they were available, different types of squash vegetables, so butternut squash, acorn squash, pumpkin, zucchini, and any other variety that I could get my hands on. And now for the foods that I avoided during my anti-anxiety diet. I tried to avoid most processed foods, and especially processed foods such as sugary drinks, sugary foods, cold meats, low-fat products, bread and pasta, any sauces and dressings. But I also avoided all dairy with the exception of homemade whey. So I avoided milk, butter, cheese, yogurt, and any kind of other dairy products, tomatoes in any form, and so that's fresh tomatoes and processed tomatoes, citrus fruits, fruit juices and fruit smoothies, black pepper and any spices, and I completely avoided stimulants such as coffee and alcohol. So to summarize, to reduce your anxiety and to control your anxiety through food, I suggest that you try to eat as many natural foods and neutral foods. Also do remember that we are all different, so these are the foods that worked for me and didn't work for me, but you can see what works for you and take that, and what doesn't work for you, don't worry about it, that's perfectly okay. This is just a starting point to help you have more awareness of the kind of foods that might affect your anxiety, so that you're more aware next time when you eat them. And the most important thing is to pay attention to your body and how your body is affected by certain foods and in terms of your anxiety levels, and that would really help you to tailor an anti-anxiety diet that is perfect for you. So thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.